Welcome to a Nebula Music Podcast topic review, a mini-series where I talk to some of my previous guests and ask them questions submitted by fans and really get more detailed into specific topics that fans want to know or learn more about. And I have Todd Pritchard joining me on these next couple of topic reviews. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. All right, I have my friend Todd here again for another topic review, and I've had a great time getting to know you, Todd, over the past couple of days. And every time I talk to this guy, I'm blown away by how knowledgeable you are. You come with a lot of wisdom because you've been in the industry basically as long as I have, and it's just I know we're not old guys, you and me, but I feel like in this industry we're constantly encountering so many people that are really, really young that are just killing it, and so it makes me feel older. So I'm happy I have someone that sort of understands that background with me. But with that said, Todd, some of the other questions that I received went along the lines of people understanding that they got to jump, that they got to do what they want to do, but that there's so many different paths and so many different opportunities that they can take. And so I guess I wanted to ask you more specifically, how do you know what opportunities to take? And if I may, Todd, when we got a chance to hang out and talk, you did mention how you had some specific opportunities out here in LA in terms of publishing and songwriting that you were originally thinking about taking, but once you dove into it and started to understand the opportunity more in depth, you decided to go a different way or choose another path. And I guess I'm just curious how you specifically decide which opportunities are better for you, which to take and which to walk away from.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like at the beginning of my career, it was all about doing as much stuff as possible, just taking anything I could get. And through those experiences, I kind of weaned down what I liked and what I didn't like. So there's that path. And then, you have some people that know what they want to do right away. They have a specific goal in mind. It's very just direct and to the point. So it all depends on the type of person that you are. But I'd say for the first situation that I'm talking about, don't be afraid to try a lot of things if you feel in your gut that you're not sure about where you want to be or where you want to end up. And that also depends on what your goals are too. What your financial goal is for your opportunities, or what basically why you're doing it. Is it for the money? Is it for the music? Is it for both? Is it for networking? All those play a part.
Absolutely. And so I'm curious, both you and I understand the concept of sort of starting from scratch and doing everything that we possibly can to, expand our network, expand our experience, and go from there. How did you know when you were ready to take a step forward in a specific direction, more professionally wise, specifically when it comes to the opportunities to say yes to, after you're sort of, doing that for a couple of years? And by that, I mean saying yes to everything. There comes a point where you have to sort of decide to respect your craft, maybe even start charging people, and how much to charge is sort of up to debate. But right. How did you know when it was time to start treating your career more professionally and demand a little bit more from the people that were offering you opportunities, and when you started getting picky, essentially?
I feel like that comes with time, and that comes with, a certain confidence, and you gain a reputation as well. So if you're in more high demand, you have more leverage on what you charge, whether that's for a gig or with lessons or anything like that. So for me, you got to be careful too, because you'll get caught in these patterns where you just charge the same thing, but essentially just like a job raise, you should give yourself a raise, not only in terms of, raising your own price, let's say for lessons, but push yourself to get higher paying gigs. And with the higher paying gigs and everything like that, it's kind of an interesting thing, because so much of that I feel like depends on networking. So let me give you an example of how or why I would choose a gig. If I was going on tour, and somebody asked me if I wanted to go on tour, and at the beginning of my career, I'd say, let's do it. I'm down.
Right.
I don't know where we're going. I don't know what the pay is. But I'm down for that experience. Now I come with a list of questions. Who else is on the tour? Can you give me their names? I want to know who these people are. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them.
Yep.
What's the music like? Who's the artist? Where are we traveling? Am I getting my own hotel room? Like, what are the accommodations? So all that stuff comes into play later on when you have more experience in terms of working with different situations, different gigs, even down to like the setup of a gig. So if I take a gig and it's for, say like a cocktail hour, and I'm like, how many people are there? Or, what kind of ceremony is it? So if I play a wedding, everyone might be wasted, or so that all changes up the vibe, so much of that depends on, has to do with experience and just knowing what I want at this point.
Dude, you bring up some great points, and that's something that I don't think many musicians in general, when they first start out, myself included, we don't necessarily know what we're looking for, right? And as you keep trying new things, as you keep doing different things and saying yes to random things, you'll start to see which ones make you feel happy and which ones don't. I know that I definitely did. And some people really enjoy like playing weddings and ceremonies. Some people really enjoy playing in cover bands because they get to play their favorite artists. Some people really enjoy the traveling, but I love that you bring up all that information because this is something that most people that are looking to tour don't understand. There's so many things that come into play into a tour. It's not just playing guitar on a stage multiple times a week. There is so many factors. The people, like you said, is a really big one in my opinion, because you may be stuck in a tour with a band that you don't like. Like, think about that. That could be a huge problem. I mean, I'm not sure if you ever faced anything like that, but I'm assuming that you sort of learned through experience, what you enjoyed to be around with it and how it helped you shape your career, essentially.
Absolutely. And, I was on gigs with people that maybe like steady gigs with people that I didn't like, and the pay was good, but the vibe was just not my thing. So it's like, and this brings up another point. What do you value most? So for me personally, and there's no offense to anyone that values the opposite, but I am more interested in lifestyle than money. So I will take less money for better musical experiences or better writing sessions, because it's like more soul, it's more fulfilling. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
That took me a while to get. Some people look at this as a 9-to-5 and they just want to take the best paying gig and do it that way. But at this point, I'm just going with my gut and what feels great. And I want to be around like good people, good music, and have it just be creative and stuff like that. And in terms of weddings and all that, I recommend, especially if you don't know what you want, just do it all. Try each thing. Be in a wedding band for a while. Because some people love to do those things, and I actually do too, but it's always within like I can't just fully do one thing. Yeah. I can't fully do lessons. Like I would go nuts if I just played in a wedding band and played, Miley Cyrus songs till the end of my career, but the key is to try and like the last thing we were talking about, just really trust that gut. What does your gut tell you? Does this feel good? Now, I'm all about working through things and seeing things through, and then you might pop out on the other side, be like, you know what? I've grown to enjoy this experience. But I feel like most people get a feeling, whether they like it or not,
Absolutely. And I loved a couple of the things that you have been bringing up. And it's a lesson that took me lots of years to understand, is really listening to your gut. I know we talked about this in the previous episode, but it's incredibly vital, especially if you're pursuing a career in the creative world, whether it's music or whatever other creative thing you're trying to do. Listening to your gut is almost as important as doing your skill, essentially, in my opinion, because you have to be able to do that. Otherwise, even if you do get those high paying gigs, even if you do play for 20,000 people or play with your dream, artist, if you're not being true to who you are, and I'm sort of like circling back to our interview, Todd, because I feel like this is what we talked about a lot when I got a chance to interview you earlier, a couple months ago, is the gut is really what dictates how fulfilled you're going to be. And I honestly commend you, Todd, for being aware enough to understand that you need sort of that creative fulfillment in order to feel happy. And at the end of the day, you're not going to be satisfied with a, $10,000 check if it means you got to do boring stuff that you don't like. And I'm the exact same way. And chances are some of you listening are the exact same way. But that said, if you do want the money, if you're all about getting that paycheck, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to understand what you are, who you are, and what you value, and always do that. And that's how you'll know which opportunities to take. At least that's my takeaway.
Absolutely. And two things I just want to add to this, and I talked about this on the last thing that we discussed, but you have to grow your network, and you have to have, as another skill that you have to bring to the table, you have to be a social person. You have to have social skills. If you want to sit in a studio and do your music all day, that's one thing. But if you want to do more gigging and that kind of stuff and touring, you have to be a cool, laid-back person. Not all the time, because I know a ton of people that get a lot of work. They're just super talented that people will put up with their personalities. But for the most part, people want somebody that's chill. And actually, if you're a really, really good person, and if you're really professional, and you may be not even that great of a player, you'll get the gigs over, like, there's players that are playing stadiums right now that are not at all at a what would be considered a virtuoso level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and the last thing I wanted to mention is, and this is something I wish I fell into or just knew about, but like, if you have a chance and you have time, like, find a mentor. Find somebody who, and the one quality I would look for in a mentor, obviously experience and success, but somebody that knows you as a person or gets to know you as a person and finds out what's best for you. So there's that one. Or if you come later in your career and you know what you want, you go out searching for that person in that specific field. But, I feel like there's those two different types of mentors. But yeah, anybody who, like we were talking about that dude, Kill Spencer, before we got on this pod, like, he had a mentor and now he's like just killing it with his business, so he was able to, and there's something associated with having a really successful mentor and making a lot of money. Like, I notice I start to see that that pattern. If you hang out with very successful people and you ask them questions, that's going to rub off on you. And that environment is crucial. You got to be careful about the environment that you're in. Make sure you're around people that are better than you in every way, whether that's career, relationships, networking. Like, I have a friend back in Philly who my connection with him is networking. He's so good at networking, and it rubbed off on me after a while after hanging out with him. And that was kind of my weak point for a while, so whatever it is that you're trying to get better at, be around those people that have those qualities that you don't have. It'll rub off on you after a while,
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much I can add to that topic because I'm a firm believer in everything that you just said. And it's true. I mean, you hear so many sayings about, you are who you hang out with and all this bunch of stuff, but you're absolutely right in pointing out that the most successful people that you encounter or see in mainstream media or just in your community, most likely those people had a mentor or multiple mentors, people that were able to sort of guide them along their path. And look, if you don't have access to a mentor, it isn't a game ender. But if you have a chance to do so, then by all means, you should make that a top priority. Maybe not your first priority, but it definitely should be something that you should get on as early as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been a Nebula Music Podcast topic review. I hope you learned something new. Definitely press that subscribe button because I'm going to have way more topic reviews and way more interviews coming your way.